What's up, everybody? Happy Friday. Welcome to
Yes.
another edition of Mile High Hockey, brought to you by our good friends at Mountain High Appliance, bringing you Mile High Hockey 5 days a week during the Avalanche's playoff run, which lives on. Mike, I am so excited to chat about Game 6 with you today because what an epic evening at Ball Arena. I'll just give my brief summary, and then I want your biggest takeaway, because the Avs are up 2-0 after one, and you're feeling good. And then all of a sudden, Mikko Rantanen has a 4-point second period. Not a 4-point game. He did have a 4-point game, but he got all 4 of those points in 20 minutes, including a go-ahead goal to make it 4-3 late in the second period. And I'm sitting there at Ball Arena going, is this really going to be how it ends?
Right.
Mikko's going to end your season? Are you kidding me? Is this really going to be the way it goes down after all the discussions we had? Nope. Not so fast, my friends, because the Avalanche rally for an epic all-time third period, especially if this run turns into something special. Outscore Dallas 4-0 and wins 7-4. Place was a madhouse. Avs were pumped. We're going to Game 7. Mike, your biggest takeaways with so much to digest.
You know, I think sometimes in sports, we grossly overuse words like great, epic, classic, thriller. Last night was all that, man. Last night was just a fun roller coaster of a ride. I felt the same way when the third period started and the Avs were down 4-3. I'm like, how are they in this position? Yeah. They had dominated the hockey game. They were out shooting Dallas like 2-1. And yet they were still down. And I think I wrote a note with about 15 minutes left in the third period. It's like, oh, it sounds like the building's gotten kind of quiet, kind of tense. You know, somebody needs to step up here and make a play. We need somebody to step up and make a play. And what a terrific enter the zone rush by Gabe Landeskog, Brock Nelson, and Val Nichushkin. Gabe puts nothing fancy, just puts a heavy shot on Ottinger. Rebound comes out. Here's Val just, charging towards the front of the net, and he gets the put in to tie the game up at 4. And at that point, it was like, okay, you needed somebody to make a play. And wow, the guy who hasn't been around for 3 years was right in the middle of it. Is just amazing. It was an unbelievable hockey game. I'm so happy for you that you had a chance to be right there in the middle of it.
Yeah, no, it was cool. I was down there in section 106. There was a new little press box that the Avalanche set up. Kudos to them. Kudos to their PR team. And I wouldn't complain in being in section 106. Those were pretty sweet seats. All right, so you mentioned Nichushkin's second goal of the game to make it 4-4. Let's talk about McKinnon's goal to make it 5-4. Because, Mike, I'm still not sure how this puck went in. I've watched every angle. It hit like 3 Stars players. And Colin Blackwell, who was actually one of the overtime heroes for the Stars early in the series, he's almost playing goalie and like squares his shoulders, and the puck hits his shoulder and goes past Ottinger. Mike, I talked to Mackenzie Blackwood, Gabe Landeskog, Cale Makar, Nathan McKinnon, Jared Bednar, Marty Necas, and all of them, to a different extent, said, we will not apologize for puck luck.
No.
Because puck luck had burned the Avs in this series.
Right.
So it was only fair that a puck luck goal that Nathan McKinnon ultimately gets credit for eventually became the game winner.
Puck luck, right? Exactly. You were burned by it at one point. Now you benefited from it. You don't apologize. You had the pass shot that deflected off Val's stick that went off the Dallas skaters.
That was the first goal of the game.
That was the first goal. So at that point, you had another one where Makar loads up on a big slapper, stick breaks, and it just kind of flutters to, I think, Lehkonen.
Terry Lehkonen
for the goal. So
you could say 3 of the 7 involved puck luck plus 2 empty netters.
Yep, and you don't apologize for any one of them because, as my good friend Mark Schlereth likes to say, luck has the smell of perspiration. And meaning, the idea is if you play hard enough, you do the right things over and over again, and you approach the game in the right way, guess what? Your chances of being lucky go up. You know what I mean? So, and I think that was the case with the Avalanche. They played exceptionally hard right from the start. It wasn't just that they were skating well, they were moving their feet, but I liked the approach of not just throwing anything on net, but it seemed like they were more focused on just putting shots on goal and then seeing what would happen after that. And I know it sounds simple, but I really think there is something to the idea that especially when you're in the playoffs and there's not a lot of room out there, just throwing the puck towards the front of the net and then see what kind of chaos comes out of it, whether it's a deflection, whether you get a lucky bounce, or in this case, you get you get 4 Dallas players. There isn't an Avalanche player to be seen.
Yeah.
4 Dallas players in front of Jake Ottinger. One of them tries to do a clearing. Blackwell just kind of gets a little, instincts take over, and he kind of shoulders or tries to knock the puck away, and then it goes into the net. And so you don't apologize for it. The Avs made their luck, and now here we go to a game 7.
No, I totally agree. It was about darn time, and I'm just happy for the Avs that things kind of evened out after a frustrating game 5. All right, you want to talk Mackenzie Blackwood or Cale Makar? A choose your own adventure, because both of them were big stories last night. Give me a name, Mike. Blackwood or Makar? Where are we going next?
All right, well, I talked a lot about Makar before the game yesterday. Let's start with him. Okay,
so he can't break through. He does get a couple of assists. You mentioned the whiff where Lehkonen tips it in, and then the pass on the goal to Marty Necas to make it 3-2 was brilliant. But there was so many chances, Mike. Like, I'm talking point blank, right on range. Like, even when it was 2-0 Avs, he came this close to making it 3-0. What happens? Brock Nelson takes a penalty 200 feet from the Avs goal. Stars power play 2-1. Like, it was just swings like that kind of all night. And then he gets the 7th goal on the empty netter. How poetic was that, in the sense that, like, sense of relief from Cale? And also, I'm being dead serious about this. Just seeing one go in, maybe he can go outscore 1 or 2 times in game 7 and actually finally beat Jake Ottinger.
So if we're under the assumption that Cale Makar is not hurt or not dealing with something,
I don't think he's hurt based on the way he moved.
He was flying at times. Yeah. Okay. So what is the first 5 games he's been in a slump. And what do we oftentimes see with guys in slumps? They don't just instantly break out of it. Sometimes they have to, if you've been in the 0 for 20 slump in baseball, you get maybe a infield hit or a little blooper that, gets you kind of going again. Okay. But it still takes you a little while to get completely out of that slump. I thought Cale Makar played. What was most encouraging to me was he was moving really well, and he was very aggressive. You could tell he was looking to try to do more. So while it didn't look pretty and it wasn't a complete Cale Makar Master Force type performance, there was enough there that I think, okay, he showed signs of coming out of that slump, and I can feel better about him moving ahead into game 7.
Yeah, and the pass to Necas was incredible. I mean, that was just a clinic. And then just to get the 7th goal, it just felt like, okay, it's a funny way to get your first goal of the series, but maybe it'll have some carryover effect. Real quick, we'll get to game 7 in just a moment. I just want to say on Blackwood, really good in the first period, really good in the third period, awful in the second period. 4 goals on 9 shots. Again, Mikko Rantanen had 4 points, but I have to give him credit because A, Jared Bednar could have easily gone to Scott Wedgwood, and he didn't. And B, for Blackwood to come out when it's 4-3 Stars and hold them to a goose egg and just forget about a bad second period. Mike, I know he hasn't been great in games 5 and game 6, but he did do enough last night on a night when the Avalanche's offense was rolling.
But you get the sense, don't you, Will, that as we look ahead now to game 7, that the Avalanche are the better team. Okay, here's my 2 biggest takeaways throughout this series, okay? The Avalanche are the better team. Jake Ottinger's the better goaltender. You can't feel like the Avalanche are the better team and sitting here at 3-3 not acknowledge that Jake Ottinger's been the better goaltender, because he's the reason why the Stars are still 3-3 in a series which I think the Avalanche have been the better team. So the Avs have been the better team. That's one truth. But Ottinger's been the better goaltender. So if you're looking at winning a game 7 coming up tomorrow night, Mackenzie Blackwood's going to have to play the game of his life. I firmly believe that. And he may have to be better than Jake Ottinger, which, That's going to be a tall task.
Oh, yeah. Tall task for sure. What's crazy, the Avs won 7-4 last night. If Jay Gottinger doesn't stand on his head and they keep going, they may win 11-4, 12-4, 13-4. Yeah. And I'm not being hyperbolic.
No.
I saw it with my own two eyes.
What was the score? The score was what, 4-3 at the end of the second period?
Yeah, it was 4-3 Dallas, and it could have been 7-4 Avs at that point.
Exactly. Without a doubt. On most regular season games, yeah, the Avalanche have 6 goals at the end of the second period. Easy.
Crazy stuff. All right, Mike, we got to run, but 30 seconds or less. Give me a game 7 prediction, and I'll give me yours.
Well, real quick, Will, I just think that I've watched 6 games. I think the Avalanche are the better team. And if you're somebody like myself who believes that ultimately over the course of a 7-game series, the better team wins, I think the Avalanche are the better team. I think the Avalanche win. I think it's going to be absolutely gut-wrenching, draining. Fans are going to be wiped out when it's all said and done, but give me the Avs 3-2.
You know what's funny? My score is also 3-2, but I'll say in overtime.
Don't.
Get one in OT.
I can't take it. I won't be able to take it.
I know. All right. Well, this was so much fun. Shout out Mountain High Appliance. Be back with you on Monday, reacting to Game 7. Hopefully starting to preview a round 2 series as well. We will see how it all shakes out. So much fun. Thank you, guys. Have a great weekend. Enjoy both Game 7s, and we will catch you next week.